Greetings, family. This is Professor Griff, and welcome to Writer's Row, where the pen meets the people and consciousness sparks conversation. This week's guests, Mbwebe, Nshangi, and Crystal Yahweh. This week, right here, with your host, Professor Griff, right here on Writer's Row, where we explore the depths of literary consciousness. Stay tuned. We will see you Monday night, 9 p.m. Thank you. Peace. Greetings, family. This is Professor Griff, and this is the Serious Minds Brain Tonic. The Serious Minds Brain Tonic was created to sharpen the mind by protecting the cells and increasing the neurotransmitters associated with learning and memory. You can order the Serious Minds Brain Tonic right here on www.debbietrywellness.com and or text me 678-557-2919. Peace. Greetings, family. This is Professor Griff. I want to take this moment to thank everyone for supporting me in my efforts to raise the vibratory pitch of your thinking into your higher self. Thank you very much in my efforts right here on Serious Minds RNTV and Arm the Masses. All power to all the people. Thank you very much. If you would like to continue supporting, and if you are a new listener, please support by giving your donations right here on my Cash App, $ Professor Griff, and or go to www.professorgriff.me. Thank you very much. Peace. All power, all the people. All right, greetings, family. This is Professor Griff, and of course, this is Arm the Masses right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. Tanya, he's looking for you. It's right here on Arm the Masses. It's right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. And we got a very interesting subject today, but I want to thank everyone for kind of joining me. I'm in a different location, as you could tell. It's the Goddess Temple of Love. And it's a different kind of look, nice, bright, sunny, kind of making some things happen. Anyway, very interesting subject today. We're going to be talking about paper genocide. All right. The genocide of an entire people on paper. Can you say genocide without them striking the channel? I don't know. Maybe the people can tell me. I don't know. I'm not sure. Can you say that? Yeah, no, maybe. Okay, hold on. Anyway, subject matter is paper genocide. So I've been doing some research over the last, I'd say, 6 months, having conversations with different people in reference to the Native Americans, the Black Native Americans, the indigenous people here in America. Who are we? Where do we come from? And having that discussion and just seeing that conversation take place on the internet. And to be honest, I hear the conversation. I just don't, and I appreciate the conversation. I just don't appreciate the way it's being handled. There's a lot of vitriol. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of self-hatred that's going on. And I think there's some things that we need to kind of unravel and unlearn before we learn. All right. Everyone's part of the conversation that they want to contribute is important. And I think we need to kind of respect that. All right. So let me just say that. So shout out to everyone that's on, everyone that might see this conversation or see this a little bit later on. Thank you. Thank you for not clicking off because you don't like the subject or you don't like my hoodie. What is it? Protect your peace. All right. Which I think is a very valuable thing. I had a conversation with someone and they said exactly that. Protect your peace. All right. Okay. So the conversation is paper genocide. And we're going to talk about All right, so we're going to talk about today. Protect your peace. Protect your, I don't know, we could go so far as to say your heritage, your lineage, your sense of self, but above all, protect your peace. So, shout out to everyone that's joining us. I see Taylor, Nubia, Brian, Dave B, occult lecturer. Okay. Shout out to everyone that's kind of tuning in. All right, let's dive right into the subject. So let me try it this way. I guess I could try it this way. I'm not sure. Nope, not that, not that, not that, not that. Let me see if there's a window I need to open. I'm not sure. Nope, not that. Nope. Here. I don't know. All right. Now, let me see. So when I went to go look up information that I could kind of lead into this conversation with, I just said to myself, it's a very critical thing simply because regardless of what position that I take, and I'm trying to stay more neutral than anything so we can have the conversation, you're always going to get some clapback. If I say that we're Africans and we've been here on this part of the planet, you'll get clapback. If I say we're not Africans and we're only indigenous to this part of the planet, you get clapback. If I say that we were one people and I talk about Pangea, how the earth was one landmass, I get clapback. If I say that we are we're not only indigenous to this part of the planet, but we're indigenous to every part of the planet, because there's not one place on the planet where you could go and you could not find Black people's footprints. So yeah, I get clapped back. It's sad, but true. So the conversation that I think I want to have is, how did they erase who we are as a people? All right. Using the pen. How did they write certain things in, write us out, describe us as who we are not, erase the fact that the Black people, Africans, even before Africa was Africa, write us off as just being colored? How did that happen? So if you go to any search engine, and most of y'all, 90% of the people use Google, and you put in paper genocide, paper genocide is an intentional erasure of a people's history and culture through manipulation or destruction of official records and documents. Did that happen to Black people in America? Did that happen to Black people in America? I am going to put the invite for people to come on early on in the show, because once I get going, I don't want to. Anyway, so let me read that again. Paper genocide is the intentional erasure of a people's history and culture through manipulation or destruction of official records and documents. All right. This systemic practice makes it appear as though a group has just simply disappeared. So the Black African, who are the indigenous people here in America, and how it was the systemic practice of writing the documents and classifying us for who we are and then who we are not. They did not care what tribe you're from, because according to them, we all look alike. All right? And then by just giving us this broad title of we're Negroes, or we're Africans, or we're Black, or we're whatever, they called us and named us who they want to call us and name us. I remember an old guy was telling me they didn't care what your name was. If they felt like calling you John, that's what they would call you. I was like, wow. So this is why, to a degree, tribalism is important. Keeping the rituals was important. Going through the rituals were important. Going through the ceremonies were important. Knowing and understanding the rituals and the ceremonies, very, very, very important. It says the term is often used in reference to policies affecting indigenous peoples, Black people. So I don't want to get into the conversation of the magical Negro. Everyone, you create this kind of person, you create this kind of individual in your head on who you want to be, and then you do the same thing that the people did to us. You erase Black, you erase African, you erase all those things that you don't want to be. So you're this magical Negro. You're this indigenous person. So then when you're questioned and you're pulled on the carpet and you're asked a few questions, yeah, you just don't, you don't have answers. Like, for example, I've been asking the question for a long time. If you're indigenous to the Americas, what were you before America was called America? What is your tribal name? What are your tribe's name? Who were your gods? What were your foods that you ate? What was your dress? What language did you speak? And then show us this in history. Who are you? If you say, well, I'm indigenous, well, answer a few of the questions I just asked. Who are you? What language did you speak? Who are your gods? All right. And I'm saying it's a very difficult thing to do, even if you believe that, because of what they did to us. So the people that were already here, did they enslave the indigenous people that were already here in America? The history books say they tried, but the Native Americans, wasn't going for it. They didn't have the stamina. To be put in chains like that. Then some people say that it was some of the Native Americans that enslaved Black people. Who were these tribes that did that? Who were these individuals? And was it you? Was it your tribe that enslaved Black people? All these questions that we're asking, simply because if paper genocide is actually real, and it is a real thing, we want to answer these questions. It says the term is often used in reference to policies affecting indigenous peoples, including Native Americans and Taíno of the Caribbean islands. So we even asked the question, who were the Taíno people? Who were the Tartarian people? This goes on to say census manipulation. This is how paper genocide took place. Census manipulation. Censuses are used to deliberately reclassify or ignore the existence of indigenous people. This can create a false historical narrative of extinction. For example, in Puerto Rico, in 1787, census listed over 2,000 pure Indians. Pure Indians in Puerto Rico. Pure Indians. Who were the pure Indians in Puerto Rico? But in 1802, census recorded absolutely none. So when you start talking about census taking, we start talking about what percentage of African Americans or Africans are in America, or Black people. What what percentage do they constitute in America? Then we can all kind of dive into the census and start coming up with numbers and figures. All right. Then it says the destruction of vital records. Places were burned down. Records were lost. Records were rewritten. All right. Government officials have systematically altered and destroyed official records such as birth and death certificates. So how do you know who you are really? What tribe did they take you from in Africa? What tribe were you here in America? Who kept the census? Misclassification. In early 20th century, Virginia State Register Walter Ashby Plecker reclassified Native Americans as colored or mulatto, and official vital records erasing indigenous identities in official records for decades. This happened for decades, family. Hold on. I think this might be interesting to know. Let's see.
Never left the land, but their names did, and the eraser had a name, Walter Plecker. In the early 1900s, Dr. Walter Plecker became Virginia's Registrar of Vital Statistics. He rewrote thousands of birth records erasing indigenous identity, replaced Indian with colored, even sent letters to hospitals and midwives. Do not call anyone Indian if they look black. These tribes didn't die out. They were legislated out of existence. Today, their descendants have no tribal ID, no federal recognition, no rights, just old family Bibles and stories of who they used to be. That's paper genocide. To the erased tribes of Virginia and Carolina, the court sees your case now. Hit that plus button so you can follow the file. The government didn't enslave these tribes. It erased them on paper. Saponi, Tutelo, Occaneechi, small dark-skinned tribes of Virginia and North Carolina, never left the land, but their names did, and the eraser had a name, Walter Plecker. In the early 1900s, Dr. Walter Plecker became Virginia's Registrar of Vital Statistics. He rewrote thousands of birth records erasing indigenous identity, replaced Indian with colored, even sent letters to hospitals and midwives. Do not call anyone Indian if they look black. These tribes didn't die out. They were legislated out of existence. Today, their descendants have no tribal ID, no federal recognition, no rights, just old family Bibles and stories of who they used to be. That's paper genocide. To the erased tribes of Virginia and Carolina, the court sees your case now. Hit that plus button so you can follow the file.
Wow.
The government didn't enslave these tribes.
That's
it
interesting.
erased them on paper. Saponi, Tutelo, Occaneechi, small dark-skinned tribes of Virginia and North Carolina.
Wow. That was just something I ran across. I just said to myself, wow, this is critical. So then if we were brought from Africa to America, and then we quote unquote mixed with black people that were here already, indigenous people, we created families. Then they erased us. Then they enslaved us. So in the enslavement process, they went through this whole thing of getting rid of us on paper, which is called paper genocide, which is what we're talking about today as we speak. Wow. This is very interesting. It's very, 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 very interesting. Wow. So I put the invite link in the chat. Yeah. So the invite link is in the chat. So if the erasure happened, and then we go back and try to figure out who we are as a people who are related to and what tribe, how do you begin the awesome task of hitting the reset button to figure out who you are and what tribe you're from? All right. How do we begin to do that? I'm just curious. How does one begin to do that? Okay. I'm trying to make my what's the name larger so I could see everyone coming in. Hold on. It says in full screen mode, new private chat messages will appear in the corner. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, black people, what power do you gain by calling yourself FBA? Does it take the foot off your neck of our people? Talk to me, please. Peace. Hey, Taylor Nubia says, okay. Peace Light, whoever Peace Light is, with no picture. Griff, you tripping. There's supposed to be a comma there because you're about to say why I'm tripping. Indigenous is also being born in a land, and family history is from the land. That's why we're doing the show today, and that's why we're trying to figure it out. So if you are indigenous, show us how you're indigenous. And then if you are American born and your family heritage is here, then you are indigenous. Oh, okay. Show me whoever you are. Peace light, peace dark, peace whatever. I need someone to step up to the plate and show me. I want to see. In fact, life began in Africa. Thank you. Africa is the cradle of civilization. All right, the cradle of humanity. Africa. We can trace all the people back to one single black woman. All right. It's been noted we're traveling over here doing trade with the ones that were here. And the ones that were here were whom is the question that we're asking. They came before Columbus broke it down. They came before Columbus broke it down. You mean Ivan Van Sertima's book, They Came Before Columbus? Or help me out with that, Taylor Nubia. I'm curious. I'm not sure who you are. Mosey, great. I think you were on here before and you mentioned Dan Calloway, and I did do just that. I went to listen to Dan Calloway. All right. But I think all of us need to cross-reference. And there's nothing wrong with cross-referencing. You can trace your family on both sides. What both sides are you talking about? Mosey, great. What both sides are you talking about? No. That is incorrect. The oldest human remains were found in Africa. So come on, stop. Let's not do that. Where was it found? Where was the oldest remains found? In Detroit? Like where? Like St. Louis? Hope all is well, Griff. To another one, from one Griff to another. Oh, okay, what's good? My people are from the Chesapeake Bay area. Where's the Chesapeake Bay area? That's Virginia. My mother's family was one of those tribes known as Mesquite. Okay. Okay. My family's from Mississippi and Alabama. What tribes are they? Well, you have to look back to old maps, and we have to find which tribes are in those particular areas. Ella, words were misused to stigmatize. Okay. In a land where the language is a mixture of other languages. True. Okay. Oh, many of my ancestors were listed as FPOC, free people of color. What did they call themselves? Good life. Griff, what did they call themselves? There are folks who can chart the census changing their family status from Indian, Cherokee to colored to Negro. Okay. We populated the world. So, of course, you will find artifacts depicting this. Thank you. I think it would serve you well to have an actual indigenous person with knowledge of this rather than spreading FBA talking points. What is FBA talking points? I'm curious. Okay. This is often a very touchy subject because when tracing back and trying to find out who we are, where we're from, who we're connected to, and some people want to get into the genealogy. Some people want to go so far as to study cell therapy. Some people want to go so far as to do DNA tests. Some people go back to ancestral.com. Someone went back to just all kind of .coms to get your DNA, to build a database of Black people's DNA for a lot of various different reasons. We haven't even really said anything on this subject yet, and people are coming on here angry. Before brother could even greet me, like, yo, you tripping. Okay. Talked about that one. Yes, indeed, you're correct. I think it would serve you well. Yep, we just read that. DNA test is a scam. Thank you. Dawn Pitts, thank you, thank you, thank you. She meant to say, every time we reach a place of discovery, they change the finish line, raise the goalposts, move the three-point line back some more. Thank you. Suna Babe, thank you. So just to let everyone know, to keep in mind, we're talking way beyond paperwork, because once upon a time, it was just oral tradition. So keep that in mind when you're putting up your information. My elder have paperwork showing we have Cherokee bloodline. Years later, my brother did the 23andMe, and no Native American. I don't understand that. Did the 23andMe, and you said, and no Native American? No Native American what? What do you mean? And then we were from 33 countries, though. I knew then they were manipulating the results. Okay, I got you, Alicia. Got you. And I love you too, Suna Bay. I don't know who you are, but it's all love. Oh, give thanks. I can tell you that my great grandma always told me that she had folks who were indigenous, but she didn't remember the name. Checked out the tribes in the area she was from. Biloxi looked like them, I guess. The DNA tests work. However, I don't trust most of the sites. What do you mean? If the DNA work, and if you don't trust them, how do you know they're not manipulating it and being honest with you? They call themselves Indians? No, I don't think so. That's not a real thing for Native American tribes. They didn't call themselves Indians. They didn't call themselves Indians. So good life, I don't know where you got that from. Because Native Americans, like tribal people from Africa, very prideful when it comes to your tribal name. So there's a lot of people in Africa, not now, but then, never called themselves Africans. The African thing is a new thing. I got attacked for that before, so I'm going to leave that out there like that. The African thing is a new thing. I said in that interview that I did years ago, Africa's a Johnny-come-lately term. Who were we prior to being called Africans by someone else? Right. So if my tribe is that I'm from is Blackfoot, Native American tribe, tracing that back and putting pictures next to Eritreans and Ethiopians and Somalians, we look just alike. If I didn't speak and you saw me next to my Ethiopian brothers or my Eritrean brothers, you would think we were blood brothers. You would think we were blood brothers. And that's a very real thing. Very, very real. All right. David Owens. Yeah, just put it in the chat. I don't know what that is. Thank you very much, Suna Bay. Thank you, lovely doll. I said the same thing. Dawn Pitts, Blackfoot in the house. Thank you. I'll see you at the family reunion, Dawn. I remember there was a saying back in high school, you know, I think a lot of people used to say, I got Indian in my family. It's like, okay. While you celebrate Thanksgiving, you got in Columbus Day, you got Indian in your family. Parole Poet, peace, what's good? A test cannot show the native group or groups you are native. Huh? I don't know what that is. That's the side effect of not controlling the resources. Well, Rich, what do you mean not controlling the resources? If you're enslaved, how do you control any resources? You need to have control over your own body. So I'm not understanding that. Mrs. Moore, peace. Whites named them Indians. Thank you. You continue to put in the divine work dynamically. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. It's not an I, but it's an us. I am because we are, therefore I am. All right. The Ubuntu. Great to get to know you through the continued words, works, and deeds beyond public enemy. Give thanks. I give thanks. I don't know what that's at. Yeah. Help to revive our ancestors' worldwide reputation by imitating their commitment to truth. Teach our children. Okay, Wale. Okay. Well, 13,000-year-old mummy. Well, we are millions of years old. So, yeah. Oh, you said I got what she was saying. So basically, many that I know had a DNA done and found no Native American connection within the results. Wait a minute, what is this little girl doing out here by herself? Hold on. Hey, I'm tired of you yelling for me. Oh, now you yelling. Now you yelling for the babies. Little girls walking down the sidewalk by themselves and cars are going by. And all of a sudden, this ignorant Negro want to yell. No, my little ones that age, I'm holding their hand. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, what was I saying? I'm not going to be on here long, family. Truth breeds trust. Trust breeds unity. Without truth, there can be no trust. Without trust, there can be no unity. No one unifies with those they do not trust. No one trusts those that do not speak the truth. Okay, Wale. Yes, indeed. All right. Now, let's just say that's written law, what you just wrote. Now, whose truth? Because I sat at the feet of our elders, now ancestors, Ishaka Musa Barashango. And if you haven't studied his work, once I start talking about his work, if we haven't studied his work, we want to counteract what he said, but we haven't studied his work. I sat at the feet of Ivan Van Sertima. They came before Columbus and many other of his works. All right. I sat at the feet of Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark. All right. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Shashi McIntyre, Francis Cress Welsing. I could go on and on and on about our historians. Renoko Rashidi, Ashwa Kwesi, Mary Rakwesi. I could go on and on. So when we start to speak this truth and we can show up with evidence and proof, right? Then what happens when those that don't study want to get on social media and argue? One person said, I could trace my lineage back to the 1600s. I said, that's all? I said, you can't go back any further than that? No. So everyone that's on here that know and understand and claim to be indigenous or native, can you kind of put some comments in the chat to let me know what's your language? What language did you speak and what are the traditions, the customs, and what is the culture? Because if we're talking about paper genocide, then they erased the vast majority of our information on who we thought we were, who they thought we were. Because they didn't write down exactly who we were. That's their paperwork, not ours. Okay. No, I disagree with you, Suna Bay. I think getting knowledge of self is the starting point. Because right now, that those three letters right there, it just sparks something, kind of, matter of fact, it just puts a bad taste in people's mouth, so to speak, if I could use that terminology. And I really shouldn't be using that terminology. I just taught the class the other night on symbology, and words have frequency and energy to them. All right. All right. Greetings.
One love.
Peace. What's good with you?
Oh, life is good, man. Life is good. I expect the same for you. Life is good, yes?
Yes, indeed. Now that I've got a chance to cross paths with you, yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. I heard you read a comment I made in there, and and you made a comment about it, and speaking about your truth, my truth, and of course I've deliberated this for a long time to come to this conclusion. Is a synthesis of actually decades of work to come to this conclusion here. No one owns the truth, is what I was saying about the truth, though.
Right.
But what I had mentioned about the truth, because I heard a lot of people talking, and you know, I know them people you mentioned. Some of them I actually spoke with, the people la-di-da. But the thing that I synthesize it down to is that people be saying a lot everywhere we need unity, and it came to me in the synthesis that truth breeds unity. Truth is it's not my truth or your truth. There's no such thing as my truth, your truth. There's only truth. Truth is a blanket. Nobody owns it. Because children, little 3-year-olds, they know what truth is. That's why I be saying sometimes when I speak to adults, they say, well, what kind of truth you talking about? My truth, your truth? Children don't play that game. Children already know what truth is.
Exactly.
And adults know what it is, but they've been taught they can play this game and hedge around in truth and, you know, not even get with it. But truth is just what is. Truth is what is. And so maybe on a metaphysical level, what we are doing is we are offending what I refer to as the creator. All right, because the creator is always creating. This is creation we live in, and the creator is constantly creating it. And when we don't speak the truth, we have just offended the creator. This is how I look at it. So our ancestors, in my understanding of my ancestral culture, my ancestors had developed this concept to create what is called a covenant with the creator. And in that covenant with the creator, our words have power because our words are of the creator, of creation. When we lie, we don't talk the truth like that, our words don't have much power. And speaking the truth builds what's called credibility.
Right.
Which is what a credit rating is all about. Credibility. You say you're going to pay it on the 15th and you pay it on the 15th, your credit rating goes up. It's all about credibility. This is power that we are not seeing as power. I don't know, you know, I mean, we look at other stuff as power, but this is power that we have innately. We are innately very powerful, yet we keep telling ourselves and others keep telling us that we are not powerful. And mostly because we don't utilize the power that we were born with. We have innate power.
Can I ask you something then? Even if you're speaking a foreign language, even if you're not speaking your mother tongue, even if we're speaking the bastard language called English,
what's your question?
Oh, yeah, I just asked it. I said, you said words have power. And I said, even if you're not speaking your mother, excuse me?
I say our words have power, yeah. And I'm saying, and that mother tongue thing like this, I synthesized that too down and realized.
No. Hold on. Wait. You're only taking part of my question. My full question is, even though we're not speaking our mother tongue, even if we're speaking the bastard language called English, it still has power because this is not our language.
The power is not in the language. The power is in the truth.
Okay.
In Burkina Faso, and I use that because a lot of people, it's in the news a lot right now. In Burkina Faso, in that landmass, I think it's a little bigger than Texas, maybe, or something like that. They speak over 60 languages in that landmass. They have over 3 common languages that all people speak, and I haven't gotten to the colonial language yet. I'm talking about within their own people. Yeah, over 60 languages within their own people. It's not about the language. It's about whether you're speaking the truth. The truth is in the power. The power is in the truth. Just like the creator is busy creating, that's the power of truth. The truth is busy showing you what it is. Every moment, the truth is existing right in front of our faces all the time. We never have to look for it or nothing. This is truth. That's why babies know what truth is, because they know. They haven't been brainwashed into this kind of mismatch, twist your mind up stuff that we do by your truth. The truth is truth.
Right. Okay, I got you. So okay, because there's just certain things that means different things when you speak your own language. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, now the people over in Burkina Faso who are speaking 60, what they say 63, but 60 languages, which one should you pick?
I think you should pick, you should not pick, but I think you should, in order to communicate, you'll probably have to adjust and learn and not have these things forced on you, and then not have you being tricked into thinking this language, these words mean one thing when they truly mean another thing. And this is the problem that we find in the English language. You'll have one word and you'll have diametrically opposing definitions inside of the definition of that particular word, which is actually confusing. They say that linguists say that the English language is the most difficult language to learn. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just saying to you, when I studied and getting knowledge of myself, I wanted to learn certain rituals, certain traditions, certain mantras, certain things in its original tongue. All right. Even though I speak this language called English, which I always say is my third language. And I think the thing that you're alluding to, or you're saying, not alluding to, but you're saying is when you talk about the babies knowing the truth, you're right. We instinctively know some things without even talking. And that's what I pulled from what you were saying in your thing that you put up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I want to be able to say I love you without having to buy you flowers, a house, a car, and giving you a whole bunch of money. I want to be able to say I like you. I want to take you out on a date without having to pay your car note, your mortgage, and I want to be able to give you flowers without you think I'm a pedo. I want this English language. Yeah, it doesn't serve us. You understand what I'm saying? When you go to look for who we are in their dictionary, or in their history, or in their rewritten Bible, their remixed Bible, it's hard to find. It's hard to find me in the educational system.
I haven't experienced it like that. And once again, when I synthesize this thing down, I realized that the language of our ancestors is not one language. The language of our ancestors is truth. We speak truth. What do you speak? I speak truth. I speak truth in 3 or 4 different languages. It doesn't matter. I speak truth. That's the language of my people. It's not no this or that. Truth is the language of my people. We stay in a culturally, we're in a covenant with the Creator to always. That's where that sweet spot of life is, in speaking the truth all the time and being in that sweet spot with the Creator. And then when we arrive to that spot where we are always speaking the truth in harmonics with the Creator, we create.
Right.
We are creators. But what are we creating? In the truth, we create all kind of fabulous things when we speak in truth. Right. You know, a lot of people, even yourself, man, sometimes you feel like, damn, am I the only one that be speaking the truth? Everybody lying around.
You must be inside my head.
And in a way, you've heard this new concept called the theory of stupid.
Never underestimate the power of ignorance.
Well, the theory of stupid is like If everybody else is saying something ignorant, you know, to be wrong, and then you join them because you don't want to be dismissed, you don't want to be ostracized, you don't want to be criticized. So you are joining with the lie that you know is a lie, and because you want to fit in.
Right.
And they're referring to that as the theory of stupid. And so I'm saying, you know, we are confronted with that a lot. I heard 2 or 3 people, adults. I was surprised because I had first heard it from a child. She said she had stolen in the supermarket. She had stolen something. I knew the child. She didn't have to steal nothing. She said she stole it because they were looking at her like she was stealing. So she stole something. Wow. She had enough money to buy everything she had stolen. She had more than enough. I knew her. That's why I even confronted her when the man was taking her to the back office. I said, "What you bothering this child for?" She stole something. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Did you steal something?" She said, "Yeah, Mr. Wale, I stole it." I said, "Why? You don't have to steal." She said, "I know that, but they were following me around like I was stealing something. So I stole something."
Wow.
That was I heard that from a 14-year-old child. And now I'm hearing it from grown people. You know, I'm in the 40, 50 years old on the YouTube streets talking about they have responded in the same manner. Yeah, he was looking at me like I was going to do something, so I did something. And I'm like, wow. See, that's the theory of stupid. We've lost the concept of sovereignty. We think we are not sovereign. Let me explain what I mean. To me, so because you know I synthesize things. To me, the word sovereign implies that you have and recognize that you have the right to be the author of your own story.
Okay.
No one can take your sovereignty from you.
Right.
You have the right to. Now they can trick you, they can scare you into giving up the right to make whatever, but still you making your own decision at that moment. When you say, "Oh, I'm scared, so I'm gonna do this," you just wrote that into your story. "Oh, I'm greedy, so I'm gonna take this." You just wrote that into your story. Whatever you do, you're the only person writing your story. But we have a tendency to say we ain't got no power, but we're not recognizing the power we have.
Right.
The power to write our own story. Every moment we have that. And we're just forsaking it. And I'll tell you something else. The children, when they see you utilizing these powers of truth, utilizing the powers of sovereignty, they will do the same. You ain't got to say nothing. Like you said about they know what truth is. You ain't no words needed.
Right. Exactly. So I noticed in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, one of the first things he did was make sure they start to rewrite the history books and tell the truth. Rewrite the history books not in the language of the oppressor, which is France. They want to rewrite it in a language that speaks to the greatness in who they are, not the oppressor's language. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. As a matter of fact, just as an aside on on what that means. Back in the day when I was doing that academic type study, I ran across a guy that explained that we talk about Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey. We talk about other people and our personal history, you know, our racial history, I'll say, and our history like that. And when they talk about those people, they say, "Oh, it was a rebellion. It was a you know, they use words like when you're talking back to your mama. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, he's a rebel.
Yeah, he's a problem child. They use stuff like you talking back to your mama. Them the kind of words you use. Right? They use for our motions and movement. Oh yeah, he was protesting. You know, he not controlling nothing, but he protest. See what I mean? They put by the words that they are using to describe the action. Just the words alone are painting a picture, whether the picture is pastel, sepia, All of these things are determined by which words that are being plucked and used in them cases. So we're busy talking about, the Nat Turner rebellion, and we're using the word rebellion instead of. So what we're looking at is this: a slave. I got it written down because I try to synthesize these things so I don't have to keep trying to redo them off the top every minute. But a slave and a what's the name of that? A prisoner of war. You know the difference, yes?
Yeah,
between a slave and a slave is one who has quit fighting, surrendered, converted, and subjugated, which is what I'm talking about, is sovereignty. He's given up his sovereignty by subjugated. A prisoner of war will never quit fighting and surrender, become converted and subjected. And when we look at it from that point of view, that Denmark Vesey was like, no, I'm not rebelling. This is war.
Right.
Now we can call him a warrior. See what I mean?
Right.
So I appreciate what Toure is doing. He's saying, let's call our people what we see. He's a warrior. He ain't no rebeller.
Yes, right. Self-determination. We define who we are. Right. I got you. But I got to get ready to get out of here. I really appreciate you, Wale. Thank you very much for coming on and dropping the wisdom and giving us these jewels that we need to kind of put under the microscope and study. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, give thanks, sir. Take care. All right, this is Professor Griff, and this has been on the masses. And as we prepare to get out of here, thank you very much to all those individuals that participated in the symbology class the other night. Thank you very much. Now, this Sunday, I'm supposed to do the songwriters class part 2. If you want to participate in the songwriters class part 2, if you do not text me or hit me up, I'm not going to formulate the class and go through the whole process of creating the flyer and all that kind of stuff, and then you guys don't show up and you hit me 2 or 3 days later. All right. Okay. The symbology class was a pop-up. It was a donation-based pop-up. You could have paid $1 and got in. You could have paid $100 and got in. It doesn't matter. It's the participation that counts. All right. Anyway, this is Professor Griff. I love you all to life. I got to get out of here. And do me a favor, check out my Bandcamp. Hold on for a second. Let me give y'all the Bandcamp. Check out the 7th Octave. Check out the Soul Om. Check out Professor Griff. Check out my album, my EP I did with my wife, Soleil. And it's funny that Wale just talked about this. The name of the album is Rebel Alchemy. Make sure you'll check me out on bandcamp.com. Do me a favor. If you are responsible for a little one, a young one, go download my audio book right now as we speak. Play the audio book for them. It's The Birth. All right. It's the birthing song of the Himba tribe in Namibia, Africa. Download the birthing song from the site www.professorgriff.bandcamp.com. And if you are responsible for a little one, make sure they get my book, Now You Know. All right, Now You Know. And hold on, do I have that? Yep, here it is. Now You Know. All right, then make sure you go listen to the short story I wrote based on Now You Know. It's an audio storybook also. All right. So you can go listen to the story of Now You Know. It's only 7.5 minutes long. All right. Download it. Listen to it. Share it with your little ones. All right. So this week, matter of fact, if you want to go to Bandcamp, make sure you get the EP, Rebel Alchemy, myself, and Soleil. Make sure you listen to The Birth. All right. The birth song of the Himba tribe. All right. The book will be out this fall. Right now, it's an ebook and it's an audio book. All right. Okay. With that said, y'all already have my phone number, 678-557-2919. You already have how to donate to the platform. It's at the bottom of your screen. More so than a donation, I'd rather you go on Bandcamp, purchase something so we don't get into that mindset. Well, I used to support Professor Griff. I gave him $3 in a food stamp and blah, 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 blah. All right. I did the whole membership thing. It's available. You can come in there, and if you're a member, you can get the classes and everything for free. All right. So make sure you hit me up, and make sure you go to Bandcamp, ProfessorGriff.bandcamp.com. And of course, if you want the Serious Minds Brain Tonic, go to www.devitribewellness.com for the Brain Tonic and the Serious Minds Brain Tonic and the Resurrection Formula. We have it in stock. All right. You can go to publicenemy.me, or it'll be better that you just went straight to Devi Tribe Wellness. All right. www.tribewellness.com. All right. We're doing a special program tonight on what the brain tonic, what's in the brain tonic and how would it benefit you, and the resurrection formula, what's in it and how would it benefit you. All right. All right. With that said, this is Professor Griff. I love you all to life, as always. All right. And it's a beautiful thing to have constructive, meaningful dialogue. All right. Constructive, meaningful dialogue. All right. Anyway, thank you very much. I got to get out of here, fam. Everyone have a nice day. And please unravel, do yourself a favor to unravel this English language. All right. In order so we can understand things for who and what.
Greetings, family.
There we go.
Greetings, family. This is Professor Griff. I want to take this moment to thank everyone for supporting me in my efforts to raise the vibratory pitch of your thinking into your higher self. Thank you very much in my efforts right here on Serious Minds RNTV and the masses. All power to all the people. Thank you very much. If you would like to continue supporting, and if you are a new listener, please support by giving your donations right here on my Cash App, $ Professor Griff, and or go to www.professorgriff.me. Thank you very much. Peace. All power, all the people.
All right, peace, fam. All the power to all the people. Peace.